All right, we have one hand on the Vetter Cup. We're getting set. Padres are in Seattle taking on the Seattle Mariners. Welcome to Friar Territory, everybody. I'm Darren Smith. That is Marty Caswell. Friar Territory is part of the Foul Territory Network. We're getting set for a 3-game series, Padres and Mariners. We're also getting set, we believe, for the 2026 and Padre debut of Lucas Giolito. We think it's happening on Sunday. No official confirmation as of the time of this recording, although it is expected perhaps by the time you watch or listen to this podcast. Welcome in, everybody. An exciting weekend of news, Marty, before we get set for Padres and Dodgers next week.
Exciting weekend of news. What's the news? What am I missing here? What do you have?
We just said it. We have the Vetter Cup. We also have Lucas Giolito.
Can you believe they're going to throw Lucas Giolito right into the Vetter Cup? He hasn't really met all his new San Diego teammates yet. He hasn't been in San Diego at Petco Park, and they're throwing him into the finale of the Vetter Cup. Finally.
I actually was thinking about this, Marty, because, what if Seattle takes game 1 and game 2? That's a lot of pressure to put on Lucas Giolito if, in fact, he is pitching for the Vetter Cup on Sunday. Now, should the Padres win behind Randy Vasquez or behind Walker Buehler, who are lined up to go on Friday and Saturday night, then a little bit of the pressure would be off. But you're right. They might be tossing him right into a pressure cooker here if the results do not go the Padres' way Friday and on Saturday. So they're taking a little bit of a risk here that his debut could literally be, because remember this, these are the rules of the Vetter Cup. Seattle is the current Vetter Cup holder. So if it splits 3-3, Seattle keeps the Vetter Cup. That's my understanding of the rules here. So you have to beat them. You have to take one of these 3 games here. You get swept, the Vetter Cup remains in Seattle. That would be really disappointing. So, like
Darren, the tiebreaker is the run differential. And if you're the Padres, when it comes to run differential, that's the last thing that you want to be the equalizer or the tiebreaker. Because right now, as the Padres are 25-18, an unconvincing winning record with a -3 run differential. The good news, if you want, for the Padres fans, and for that pitching staff, Darren, is that Cal Raleigh is on the injured list for the first time in his career. We spent all this time talking about the struggling Padres hitters, and that, to me, I'm sure we'll get there on today's show because that hasn't changed one bit, though. But, I mean, he's hitting like a $161, although he has 7 home runs. But now he's on the injured list with an oblique injury for the first time in his career. So some good news for the Padres pitching staff. Maybe.
Big dumper on the injured list. Now, you just said run differential.
I know.
Was the first tiebreaker. I thought it was that the current cup holders that you have to, I don't know. Listen.
I don't think, nonsense. I know.
This
but I'm glad,
nonsense.
Darren, I'm glad you spent so much time on this. Clearly, you've given it plenty of thought. I don't even think the Padres even include it in their game notes anymore because we wasted so much time asking players, and like, who's Eddie Vetter? Like, what are you talking about? So anyways,
I know. Well, listen, what's the alternative, Marty?
I don't know.
Hey, did you know that Fernando Tatis Jr. didn't have a home run? I thought he would homer in Milwaukee. I mean, I at least thought, especially when you find yourself down 6 and 7-0 in a game, maybe that's an opportunity just to be a little bit selfish and bop one out of there. You figure the Brewers are going to be throwing a lot of strikes, but that wasn't the case. And the Padres, really, their offense over the last 4 games, Marty, has essentially been, their last 2 wins has essentially been some 9th inning, 2-out, 2-strike home run, one by Nick Castellanos and the other one by Gavin Sheets. And that's really been the only way that the Padres have won games since we've started the week. We talked about it on Monday because that's how they won on Sunday. And then that's the only way they won against the Miwaukee Brewers was Gavin Sheets doing that to give the Padres a 3-1 win. So it says there on the screen, fixing the Padres. Whose job is it to fix the Padres? That's my question to you. Whose job is it right now to fix the Padres offense?
AJ Preller. It's AJ Preller's job to fix this and to find the solution. And Darren, you know this, that usually the first scapegoat is always going to be the hitting coach. It is. It is. And it's Steven Souza, who was a former teammate, right? He's connected with Craig Stammen. Now, my question is, who hired Whose decision was it to hire Steven Souza? Was it Craig Stammen or was it AJ Preller? Did AJ Preller, when he brought in Stammen, say, you know what, I'm going to give you the authority to go ahead and put together your entire staff? Now, you're going to inherit Ruben Niebla, because Ruben Niebla was literally one of AJ Preller's first hires before Bob Melvin, right? These managers inherited Niebla, and he's been great. He isn't the issue for the Padres. But Steven Souza, right? I mean, the Padres are like, they're dead last. Their team batting average at 222 is dead last in Major League Baseball. 25th in runs scored, 25th in slug, 28th in OPS. You can't, we know this, you can't fire the players. You can't get rid of these contracts. You have who you have. It's impossible to believe that the entire team just forgot how to hit in the same year. Is it philosophy? What is it? But we do know, Darren, that when a team goes into this much of a funk, it's May 15th. You have a large enough sample size. I think you really have to start figuring out what move you make next. There is no one trade. There's no one player they can bring in to trade for right now that, to me, is going to change the Padres' offense. There isn't a bat. I don't know.
So what is it that you want AJ Preller to do then, since you think it's his responsibility? What is it that you want him to do right now to fix this offense, which is pitiful? It was bad last year, Marty. It's actually worse. I mean, I didn't think that was possible. But somehow, as bad as it was and as unsatisfying as it was statistically last year, it's worse this year. And you know whose offense is a lot better this year, by the way?
Don't tell me. Wait. I'm going to guess.
Yeah,
the Houston Astros? Really? Under Victor?
Yeah.
So, okay, I've got it. I've got the fix. If you're AJ Preller, you trade for a hitting coach. Can you make a trade? Did I, right?
Yeah. I mean, but listen, I think it's pretty lame to sit here and start banging on about the hitting coach, but I also don't know that it's not right. And, listen, I never met Steven Souza. It seems like a fine enough human being. What do I know?
Right.
But he was quoted in The Athletic on April 30th, specifically talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. Mm-hmm. And he did say this, quote, I do think he's like super close. I feel like I've been saying that for 3 weeks, but I do feel like it's just a couple of clicks and ironing some stuff out, and then it's just going to go. That was April 30th. He was quoted in The Athletic. So now let's add 15 days to that. And he said he's been saying it for 3 weeks. So we're going on 6 weeks where the hitting coach is like, maybe just a couple clicks. I'm kind of a loser. I went back and watched the press conference with Steven Souza from spring training where he was asked about, hey, what is your overall hitting philosophy? He's like, I just want to get out of the way. Well, okay. And he also did say, Marty, that the reason why he's the hitting coach is because of his friendship with the manager,
with
Craig
Stammen,
Stammen,
right?
which, again, I think can get put into focus now based on what it is that we've seen from this team through over 25% of the season. I'm not saying that Steven Souza, that heads have to roll here, but it is a curious hire. And there is no evidence to suggest, right, that a very inexperienced coaching staff, I'm guessing Steven Souza's not making a ton of money.
Right.
But that an inexperienced coaching staff, we don't know. There's no evidence to suggest that they know how to get a team out of a situation like this. And that would be my only point. I'm not saying he should be fired. I'm not saying he shouldn't. I'm just saying, where is the evidence to suggest that these guys know how to get this team across the board, not just Fernando Tatis Jr., out of this funk? It doesn't exist because they don't have any experience. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this is going to go from here. Whereas other guys do have track records in baseball of being able to turn teams and players around. And that is not this group. So here we sit still talking about a team that's a half a game out of first place, getting set to perhaps win the Vetter Cup this weekend. When we come back, we will talk a little bit about Lucas Giolito. We'll talk about the Padres pitching staff, all of that and more coming up on Friar Territory. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, the MLB season is in full swing, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Joining the action is easy. Just make your free pick on who's hitting a home run in their game, and if you're right, you'll get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. It's just another reason why FanDuel is the home of home runs. So, are you ready to play your game? Head over to FanDuel.com/podcast to get started. That's FanDuel.com/podcast to opt in for daily dingers. Make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball, swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Marty, welcome back to Friar Territory. I have one more thing I want to say about this offense, and then we can move on. Just because I want to give a little credit to Kevin Acee.
Oh, really?
Of the San Diego Union-Tribune, who did have this in Friday's Padres Daily. The Padres have struck out. They struck out over 30 times against the Miwaukee Brewers, right? So it's not even that they're not getting on base. It's not even that they're not slugging. They're also just striking out a ton.
They're swinging at the hills.
Yeah, they struck out 30-plus times, Marty. 3 different times, 3 different series of 2026 so far. Now, that didn't happen at all in 2025, didn't happen at all in 2024. It has happened 3 times. That is an insane statistic. Kudos to Kevin Acee of the Union Tribune for digging that one up. 3rd time that they've had 30 or more strikeouts in a single series. Wow. And you're not even getting the reward of hitting homers. Sometimes you say, hey, I'll take the trade-off of strikeouts if it produces some home runs. We're not getting any home runs. We're just getting nothing. So, it's not great, to say the very least. Also interesting, again, and I will reference Kevin Acee since we can now talk a little bit about pitching. Are you ready to move on from hitting to pitching?
I am.
Matt Waldron, not good. And the presumption across the board after that, after his start earlier in the series was that would be pretty much the end of Matt Waldron and the Padres would take their chances. Probably have to try to clear him through waivers, see if he can remain with the organization or otherwise. But he came into relief. He came into the game on Thursday in relief. After the game, Craig Stammen, the manager, was asked about Matt Waldron, and he paid him some compliments and said, hey, we appreciate it. He picked us up, and we were really struggling, and he ate a couple of innings. And that's how we're going to use Matt Waldron. I don't know if you were watching this post-game press conference, Marty, but I was.
I wasn't watching it. I read the comments, though.
And I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? And then, AJ Caswell from MLB.com writes a story about how it appears that Matt Waldron has a new role. Well, then, in the same story that I just referenced from Kevin Acee, he says that it is almost certainly not going to happen. That Matt Waldron is pretty much going to be done. That may have been the final time that we see Matt Waldron. So I don't know what's happening here.
That was the mop-up. That was the mop-up farewell. I'm just thinking of all. Is Matt Waldron really the missing link for the Padres? Is he that important to this team? I mean, they have plenty of depth. There's a trade coming. Are they so afraid that he's going to be claimed or something? I mean, maybe they DFA him. They can sign him again. But I just don't think that ultimately Matt Waldron. He's not a guy that you're going to consider your high leverage arm. Sure. Maybe this is more concern over what you have in your rotation. You had a really, really shaky start yesterday by Griffin Canning. Maybe there's some fear over Lucas Giolito, but you have these pieces for a reason. Or maybe you're thinking, listen, I'm really uncertain on Pivetta and Musgrove coming back this season and what they'll look like. I'd rather have Matt Waldron lurking somewhere in the organization. So I don't know, but it's just hard to think that, wow, what are the Padres going to do without Matt Waldron?
Right. Yeah. And I don't even know, as much as it's the manager saying this is the new role for him. He's going to be in our bullpen.
This is the new role for today. This is the new role for today.
Moving forward, until Sunday? Because Acee seems to completely refute that. He just totally refuted that and said it is almost certainly not going to happen. So whatever it is that Craig Stammen said post-game, according to Acee, you just shouldn't believe it. So I don't know what to expect upcoming this weekend. It's funny that you brought up Nick Pivetta, Joe Musgrove. The Padres president of baseball operations, AJ Preller, said that we're not talking days, we're not talking weeks.
Yeah.
So we're still talking months.
Yeah.
Months between either one of those guys.
If.
It's still an if, but even the if at this point is not about weeks, he did say. So that tells us it's at least about months for both Joe Musgrove and Pivetta. And Marty, I think you're probably right. It's if.
Yeah.
So how excited are you for Lucas Giolito?
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to watching him do his thing and see if he can give him some innings, and hopefully the Padres can score some runs for him. By the way, just That sucks though for both Pivetta and for Musgrove. And I know I had this conversation with, AJ Caswell, MLB.com. What is the Padres' biggest priority at the deadline? If you're AJ Preller, where should you concentrate your efforts and whatever trade capital you have? And he made it clear. I mean, as bad as this offense is, right? There is no bat there's no magic. There's no player out there that you could trade for Juan Soto right now. And that doesn't fix the Padres. You could trade for Luis Ariz, and that doesn't fix the Padres. But you need pitching. Just because of this, because of what you saw from Canning, right? And he's coming back from his Achilles injury, because of Giolito and his history of the arm problems, right? Even though he says he's fully healthy. And because you just don't know. You can't even, if you're AJ Preller, you probably have a good idea on the likely expectation for Pivetta or Musgrove even coming back this season. And if they do come back, they're not the same pitchers they used to be. And you have to go ahead and build back up. Look at Walker Buehler and him talking about him taking him 2 years to feel remotely like himself, and he still doesn't have the same velocity that he had before. He had to go ahead and reinvent himself. So it's a shame, but now you're seeing maybe why the Padres are so desperately holding on to Matt Waldron in some capacity, because they just might need someone that can pick up some innings at some point. I don't know.
They might. Yeah, they might. And maybe there's another opportunity for somebody to get turned into a different role. I don't know. Maybe you lengthen somebody out and use some more openers. We've seen a little bit more use of that this year than we have in years past as well, right? Mm-hmm. So, you have to, it certainly seems to suggest, Marty, that you're going to have to be a little bit creative with some of these spots in the lineup. You know what you're going to get from Michael King. That's low maintenance right now, knock on wood. You know what you're going to get from Randy Vasquez. That's low maintenance. Again, knock on wood. And I think that that's probably the hope for what it is you're going to get from Lucas Giolito as well. So again, nothing official, but it is expected that he will be debuting, and I think he's lined up to go on Sunday.
Yes.
Which again, like we said, puts all sorts of pressure on him. Think about that. They want the pressure of the Vetter Cup instead of the pressure of throwing him into the deep end of the pool against the Dodgers on Monday.
Exactly. By the way, I've looked ahead at this Dodgers schedule, and I know that right now, if you're a Padres fan, you're just concerned about scoring, a run between the first and the eighth inning and not waiting till the ninth inning for your offense to explode, or for Castellanos or Gavin Sheets to hit a 2-out, 2-strike home run. But this pitching matchup for next week, Michael King versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Griffin Canning, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time Shohei Ohtani has pitched at Petco Park, right? Now, he's hit there. I don't think he's ever pitched against the Padres at Petco Park. I think they faced him when he was with the Angels, but I need to double check that. And then the Wednesday is I'm sorry. Why do I have Canning in there twice? Vasquez versus
Please don't do that.
Yeah. Okay. I got that wrong. Okay.
Do you want a mulligan on that?
No, it's King, Canning, and Vasquez, Yamamoto, Ohtani, and I forgot who their pitcher is for Wednesday, unless you can look that up quickly. But anyways, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to this series.
Well, wouldn't it be Buehler?
No. King, Canning, Vasquez for the Padres.
Yes.
So no Buehler in that series versus his former team.
Okay. And you're saying that Ohtani's not going to pitch?
He pitches on Tuesday.
Okay, you're confusing me. I'm sorry. We probably should have talked about this. And I am also just trying to scroll real quickly here to see, has he pitched at Petco Park? Ballparks. Petco Park, yes. He has one time.
Oh, he has one time. Okay.
I don't know when this was exactly, but I'm just looking at his baseballreference.com page, and it says that he pitched at Petco Park. One game, faced 24 batters, 20 at bats, gave up a couple of home runs. So
home runs?
That one up. Yeah.
Was one of them to Tatis?
He's 0-1, Marty, with an ERA of 9.
Okay. I thought that was
5 innings pitched at Petco Park.
Okay. I apologize. I got that wrong. I thought that was
It's okay. It's forgettable.
In Anaheim.
Obviously, that's a very, very forgettable start there for Shohei Ohtani. But again, I think a lot of this, that's the other thing too. It's like Padres and Dodgers coming up, lurking right around the corner. It's easy to get wrapped up and start looking ahead and start thinking about, what that is. But, you also got to figure out a way to get right this weekend against the Seattle's Mariner team, which just took 3 out of 4 against the hot swinging Houston Astros, who we've already referenced. So
Miss Victor. Go get Victor.
Maybe make a trade. I don't know. We'll see. But that seems to be about where the Padres are heading into this weekend as well. And again, lined up pretty well with Vasquez and Buehler, who's pitched better, and the debut of Giolito. So, I do think again, it's all about offense. Just trying to feel somewhat good about this team. I'm tired of talking about lineups. I still see there's just so much conversation about where guys should be batting and what has happened to Ramon Laureano.
Right.
I mean, there's no answers here. Just pull names out of a hat at this point. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It just, it's been frustrating to watch, to say the very least. All right, coming up, we have one final segment to go, and then we'll get you set for the weekend. Talk a little bit, make a couple of predictions heading into the weekend set against the Seattle Mariners. Stick around. Friar Territory continues. Marty, we have some listeners that are up in Seattle. They're going to go to the games this weekend. And we always recommend, if you're looking for tickets, whether it's planning ahead last minute, SeatGeek. SeatGeek has you covered. They will show you all the different options. They will grade out the different opportunities so you know what kind of value you're getting. Download this app, keep SeatGeek on your phone. And anytime you're going to a sporting event, a concert, SeatGeek definitely has you covered.
Darren, do you want to go ahead and watch Griffin Canning and Shohei Ohtani at Petco Park in the Padres-Dodgers series next week? You need to go to SeatGeek. Do you want to check out Star Wars Weekend on Saturday? Go to SeatGeek. It's the #1 ticketing app, over 35 million downloads, over 70,000 events.
And yeah, like Marty said, you might think this is a baseball show, so it's just about baseball tickets. It's about tickets for everything. The World Cup, NBA, the
Concerts.
playoffs. I mentioned concerts, our group chat. We're all trying to figure out a way that we can go and we can watch the Knicks break our hearts. You can do this all with SeatGeek. And of course, we have a code for you. You can use the code Territory10. 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That is 10% off any tickets. Promo code Territory10. Click the link. It's right there. Description. Download the app. Have the code automatically added to your account. You can use it later. Use our code 10% off your next SeatGeek order. Marty, our final segment for the week. I do want to recommend to everybody, if you missed Mason Miller on with us earlier this week, go back, watch it. Really a ton of fun. My first opportunity chatting with Mason Miller. I know you've had plenty of conversations with him since he got traded over last year from the Sacramento A's or whatever they are.
Sure.
So really a very kind of low heart rate fella, and great backstory. Really interesting. So we would recommend people go back and give that a watch or give that a listen if you missed it. You can, of course, subscribe to Friar Territory on YouTube. We would appreciate not only you subscribing, but also leaving us a good review. You can find this in audio-only format, wherever it is that you find your podcasts. So we do appreciate your support. We see it growing all the time. We thank you very much. We also, lastly, will say FriarTerritoryShop.com. It's where you can represent this show, and it comes in the Padres colors. So you can be on the move and wearing some of the Friar Territory gear, as we would appreciate that. That would help us as well here on,
and Darren,
on this little collaboration.
It would. And I do want to go ahead and once again mention the Instagram. The Instagram account for Friar Territory is rather new, but we put clips of this show there all the time. The Mason Miller stuff, Ty France, Tony Gwynn Jr., just all the great AJ Ellis, all the great guests we've had. Also, you'll see a lot of pre and post in Friar Territory. And Darren, I do think that shortly we should also introduce an Ask Darren segment for this show, because people have a lot of questions, and I think you have a lot of answers when it comes to how to fix this Padres team. It's been tough to watch this offense. By the way, I want to mention this because here's a clip that also appeared there. I did see that Dennis Lin and Sam Blum of The Athletic wrote about Justin Turner, Darren, in Tijuana. I know that you visited him last week, and he mentioned, paying attention to what the Padres do. I actually talked to, very nice. I actually talked to Walker Buehler. I actually talked to Walker Buehler about Justin Turner. We started the show talking about how do you fix this Padres team? What do you do? Bring in a bat. Justin Turner, as he told Dennis Lin, wants a job. Called teams looking for a job. Bring him in for the Dodgers series. There you go. Just sit him in your dugout as a mascot. Just do that. How about that? Mm-hmm. Great idea.
Yeah, bring him in for the
bring
vibes.
Him in. Why not? Bring him in.
I wonder if he'll be at Petco Park this week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did get the chance to interview Justin Turner, who classic Padre killer. Mm-hmm. I never objected to him. There were other Dodgers who I really objected more to.
Brewster Gratterall, Joe Kelly. Who else?
Max Muncy.
Max Muncy. Yeah.
There's some guys on that team who are just like, God, I just have this irrational hatred. And it's based on what? Just watching it on a television, right? For all I know, I could have this completely backwards. And those guys could be the angels and Turner could be the devil. I don't know. But I did get the chance to go and chat with him. So he's just sitting there. Maybe we should think about a spinoff to Friar Territory where it's Toro's territory.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that as well. All right, so we'll be back in full force coming up next week. And again, I know everybody's frustrated with the offense, and my question.
You should be frustrated with the offense.
I just wonder, do these guys? There's no history of guys of this group being able to fix this. So do they know how to do it? I don't know. I mean, you got to learn how to do it for the first time at some point, but this group's not ever done that. So maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Hopefully they will. Alrighty, that'll do it. That's a wrap for us for the week. Thank you very much for all of your support. For Marty Caswell, I'm Darren Smith. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next time on Friar Territory.